This is in response to Billy's talking points memo from Tuesday, March, what would that be, 3rd, 2015. Obama under tremendous pressure in terms of the Iranian nuclear deal. And I disagree with almost everything Billy had to say today. He's not under tremendous pressure. He's going to either make the deal or he's not going to make the deal. The deal is going to be good for the United States. The deal is going to be good for Great Britain. The deal is going to be good for France, Russia, and China. It's not going to be made if it's going to be just good for Iran. And let me try and explain something about negotiations, Billy. And I just want you to know this, because you should know, tell your people this too, is that when you negotiate, you never want to give anything up until you absolutely have to. So negotiations can go on for a long time. You come to an agreement, you have a stall, you come to an agreement, you come back to the table. You always never want to concede anything until you absolutely have to. All right? There's another thing about agreements like this. Everyone has to appear that if there's that they're coming out as a winner. Not necessarily that they won, but they're coming out as a winner. You know, Iran's not going to be able to go back to their people and say, oh, we lost this one, we just accepted it because we lost. No, they have to make it look like they're a winner. So they have to have some type of face-saving type of thing to you. This is how negotiations work all the time. This is how your agent negotiates your deal for you so you can make your $10 million or whatever you're making per year. All right. Now, if I remember correctly, Jimmy Carter got Menachem Begin and Anwar Sadat to Camp David sometime in the late 70s. I don't remember the exact year, 77, 78, whatever it was. They were at Camp David for a couple days, maybe even a week. They were playing chess on the day that they weren't negotiating. They were back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They were hard line. Menachem Begin drove a hard deal. But eventually, they came up with a solution. And of course, the United States is still paying for it. But at the same time, Israel and Egypt have not been at war in that 35 or plus years since that has happened. But that's what you do in negotiations. You work very hard at a deal, you come up with a solution, you make the agreement, you settle the deal. All right. Now, Netanyahu's saying, oh, I might have to do this all alone. You know, he's trying to come out like a savior to his people, that he is the one person who is a leader, he's a savior, and do all this other stuff. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, Billy, is that you don't even know what the hell you're talking about when it comes to talking about nuclear capacity, because you use that as a vague term. But I know what you're trying to say. You're using that to tell your audience that Iran will be able to keep their nuclear capacity. But what you don't tell them is that that nuclear capacity cannot make an atomic bomb. It's not weapons-grade uranium. It is energy-grade uranium, where they can produce electricity from uranium just like a power plant does here in the United States and in other countries. But it's not weapons-grade uranium where it could actually ignite a bomb, so to speak. Now, another thing, and now you keep talking about, well, Iran's going to violate it. You know, well, because they always will. Well, we do have a lot of things in place, and that's why you have negotiations, to make sure that things are in place, and that these are the consequences if these things don't stay in place. If I remember correctly, they said that Saddam took those things off beforehand, and then the inspectors went back, blah, blah. And of course, there's whenever you're doing negotiations are always secret. We shouldn't know what's going on right now, because that puts us under more pressure, and it puts Iran under more pressure, especially by, the right wing will say, no, don't give that away, don't give that away. And of course, the right wing over in Iran will say, don't give that away. So the negotiations are always secret until you're at the end, and then it's basically an up or down vote by the Senate to handle the whole thing. And Obama has even indicated that there is a point where we will have to walk away if the deal is not satisfactory to us. Now, is Iran going to lay all their cards on the table now? They have until, what, the 24th? They're not going to do that. They're going to hold as tight as they can. They're going to do what Newt Gingrich did. Remember when Newt Gingrich said that he wasn't going to resign from the Speaker of the House? And of course he did. And there's just any other person who's being indicted, I'm just using this as, I never did anything, never, ever, ever. And then 2 days later they resign. Because the best, and you put out the bravado that, hey, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't screw any, blah, blah, blah. And then 2 days later you resign because that's what you were doing the whole time. But you never show that up front. You never show that up front. And Billy, you said that Obama, excuse me, that Obama needs to tell us what that fair deal is. And no, he doesn't, and he shouldn't. You don't do that in the middle of negotiations. When someone is working your contract, they're not telling everyone on Fox News how much they're working your contract for. They're not doing that. That's not how you negotiate. Now let me just finish up. I don't know why you brought Putin at the end, and you're telling Obama that we're waiting. No, he's making a deal. These are secret negotiations. We're working it with other countries. We're working it to protect ourselves against Iran. And as I pointed out before, and I think Hillary Clinton said this a long time ago, a number of years ago, that if Iran ever did get a nuclear bomb and used that nuclear bomb on Israel or any other country, we would blow them to smithereens. And we would. Now, would we really do that? I don't know. Would we use atomic weapons? I think we would do more than just have sanctions on. And remember, Obama let some sanctions down to negotiate in good faith. And that he could put those sanctions back on if he doesn't feel that the United States, France, England, Russia and China are not getting the deal that they want. And remember, Iran is hurting because of the sanctions. All right, so there's a lot going on here. We don't have to tip our hand right now. Negotiations, we could come to an agreement on March 24th, and there'll still be other things that we need to agree upon, so not necessarily all that stuff will be put out there. And of course, everyone's going to say they can still enrich uranium. Yes, they're enriching uranium, but it's not nuclear-grade uranium. And that's what Billy will never tell anybody, because he wants to have a fall guy in Obama day in and day out. He will be relentless, but he will never tell the truth.